You know that feeling when you walk down the hallway of an older public school or maybe like a hospital built back in the 70s?
Oh, yeah, with those classic slightly yellowed speakers tucked up in the ceiling grid.
Right. You probably don't give them a second thought until, an emergency broadcast comes through and it's crystal clear, sounding like it was broadcast from a modern studio.
Right, and I mean, the immediate assumption there is that the facility managers must have completely gutted the building.
Oh, totally. Ripped out the old wiring, replaced everything at massive cost.
Yeah, but they usually don't.
Exactly. And welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to decode this seemingly dry product page from HDTV Supply. It's for a device called the Advanced Network Devices Zone Low IC Basic Zone Line-Out Controller. Try saying that 3 times fast. It is quite the mouthful, yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
But why should you care about this tiny 1-pound box? Well, because it's basically the unsung hero keeping those legacy mass notification systems alive. Here's where it gets really interesting. This unassuming piece of hardware is secretly acting as a bridge between a building's past and its future.
It really is a brilliant piece of hidden engineering. I mean, if you just look at the raw specs on the page, it's an 8 by 6-inch box.
Pretty small.
Very small. And on one side, it has a standard 10-100 Ethernet port, the exact same digital network connection you'd plug your computer into.
Right, yeah.
But on the other side, it has this old school RCA audio output, and that's designed to push sound out to a standard 8-ohm analog speaker.
So it's essentially acting as like a digital to analog universal translator sitting up in the ceiling tiles.
Exactly.
Because you've got this older building full of legacy copper wire and analog speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of spending millions carrying all that out, this controller just listens to the modern digital cloud language coming through the network cable.
It catches those tiny digital data packets.
Right? Catches them and instantly translates them into a continuous electrical wave, an analog signal. And it pushes that out hard enough to physically move the cone of that old speaker to create sound.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fascinating here is the infrastructure magic making that translation so seamless. The spec sheet notes it supports SIP protocols.
Oh, right, SIP.
Yeah. Functionally, SIP is just the universal language of internet phone systems. So the second you plug this box into the network, the modern VoIP system recognizes it as just another phone extension.
Wow, that's clever.
It is. Furthermore, it's InformaCast enabled. And InformaCast is this heavy-duty emergency mass notification software.
Right.
Because this little box natively understands that software, it can receive a digital alert, like, say, a fire drill or a lockdown warning.
That's severe weather. Yeah.
Exactly. And it instantly blasts it out over those 1970s speakers.
Okay, but wait, if I'm sticking a digital computer chip into a drop ceiling to connect to an old speaker, how am I powering it?
Right, the power issue.
Right. Yeah, I mean, do facilities teams have to run new electrical wiring, like install standard outlets next to every single speaker in a hospital wing?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a logistical nightmare, not to mention incredibly expensive.
It would be, yeah. But that is the exact problem this device solves through a networking standard called PoE, or Power over Ethernet.
Power over Ethernet.
Right. The device runs entirely on the electricity provided through that single digital network cable. It can operate on standard PoE at 15.4 watts or PoE Plus at 30 watts if it needs higher output.
So the single networking cable is pulling double duty.
Exactly.
It's delivering the complex data from the cloud and safely carrying enough electrical wattage to power the translator chip and push the audio signal. That's really clever. But okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
The HDTV Supply listing prices this unit at about $504. Discounted from $590. Even with a 2-year warranty, let's just play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure.
$500 feels incredibly steep for what is essentially a plastic audio adapter, right?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you realize you aren't just buying an audio adapter. You're buying a mass notification lifeline.
Okay, fair point.
Think about the life safety stakes here for a second. If there is an active shooter or a severe weather emergency, that broadcast has to work without fail.
Absolutely. No room for error.
Right. You are paying for industrial-grade reliability, specifically that certified InformaCast integration. And it's backed by a vendor that 96% of buyers rate 4 or 5 stars.
Which is a huge deal for peace of mind.
It is. You are basically paying for the absolute guarantee that when you hit the panic button, the message actually gets out.
So what does this all mean? For you listening, the takeaway here is realizing that when a pristine emergency broadcast echoes down the hall from an old school speaker, it's not magic.
Not at all.
It's thanks to invisible hubs like this controller doing all the heavy lifting behind the ceiling tiles, just translating the digital present for the analog past.
And honestly, this raises an important question.
No,
If a single 1 pound box powered by an Ethernet cable can seamlessly bridge aging analog hardware with modern cloud software, what other aging infrastructure systems in our daily lives are secretly being propped up by invisible digital translators?